Hey, what's up guys? This is Justin Johnson, and in this video today I'm going to cover what I think is one of the biggest problems that pretty much every guitar player has, no matter where you start, no matter what level of talent you start with. This basically sucks for everyone, and I'm talking about bar chords. So in this video I'm going to break down basically the things that helped me the most learn how to get way more comfortable playing bar chords. But also just how to make them easier. There are a few things you can do to really just make bar chords a lot easier. But before I get into any of that, let me explain what a bar chord is basically first. Okay, so a simple way to think of a bar chord is basically any chord where, like this A major chord for example, it's any chord where you're using your index finger right here to bar multiple strings across a given fret. So right here, this index finger is like barring the 5th fret off, and that's allowing me to then make my chord voicing with my remaining fingers, in which case this is a major chord voicing, so it's A major here on the 5th fret. What's nice with bar chords is that you can change that just by moving down, let's say, a whole step to the 3rd fret, and I keep the same exact shape, and now it's G major. If I move that up to the 8th fret, I've got C major. So it gives you it basically allows you to take one shape, one voicing, move it up and down the fretboard, and you have access now to so many different actual chords and chord voicings that you might not ever be able to get simply by using open chords. And again, an open chord is one like down here that utilizes open strings. So for example, E major. Now what's so tricky about bar chords basically is that it does require a little bit of muscle building, like actually building muscles, because the shape, like pinching your index finger against all 6 strings like that, it puts a lot of tension on this muscle right here, and you have to build that muscle up. Your thumb is pushing on the back of the neck right there, opposite your index finger. But there are some things that can make this a lot easier. Some ways to position your finger, some ways to basically avoid having to do bar chords altogether, and also some ways to use your body and your posture to help ease some of that tension and create some more downward pressure on the fretboard. So first of all, the first tip is that when your index finger's on the fretboard, you're not actually pushing straight down with like your whole fingerprint. Depending on the voicing, but most of the time, you're actually kind of hitting the angle, like hitting it diagonally on your finger. So let me do a downward shot here so you can see exactly what I mean. Okay, so you can see right here, both where my thumb is placed back here against the back of the neck, and then my index finger, instead of it being flat like that, I've actually got my index finger tilted diagonally. So instead of that, it's tilted like that. And then I do the shape with my remaining fingers. Another thing to notice as far as the posture and the shape of the hand is that my arm is coming, it's got enough basically room beneath it, beneath the neck, to come up at it, around like that. You never want to do a bar chord with the guitar so low that you're having to do it like this. This puts a lot of tension on your wrist. It can hurt your wrist. You always want to be comfortable with bar chords. Even though after a while this muscle right here does become sore, the muscle becomes sore, your joints should never be sore, your wrist should never be sore. If that's happening, slow down, figure out what you're doing wrong with your posture, lift the neck of the guitar up a little bit higher, and again, come from below up, and that should make it a lot easier. Okay, so there's another technique, and I've actually never heard of anyone talk about this technique, but it's something that I learned I could do that helped me a lot out with playing bar chords. And that's that all of the pressure to push that finger down doesn't have to come from your thumb. You can actually apply counter pressure with your forearm on the other side of the guitar over here. So if I push back with my forearm right here, you see that the neck comes out. And so if I do that hard enough, you know, and I'm doing this just as an example, I don't even need my thumb on the back of the neck to do the bar chord. And I'm not suggesting that you play like that, but I'm doing it to show you that you can actually get that much pressure by applying a little counter pressure with your forearm over here. So when your thumb is getting tired and you want to push a little bit harder, you push back with your arm this way, and push back with this arm this way, and you get a lot more firm feel. Any of those buzzing strings, you start pushing back and those strings start sounding better. You get like that, push back, and you've got a nice solid bar chord now. The thing you want to make sure you're not doing when you're doing this is that you're not bending the neck. You're not doing it so hard that you actually bend the guitar out of tune or put a lot of pressure on the instrument. This is just a subtle technique that can help you get that little extra downward pressure on your index finger and take some of the load off of your thumb back there. Okay, so those are techniques that should help you get more comfortable with like the traditional bar chord, form, which is again that shape right there, index finger across all 6 strings. One of my favorite guitar players growing up and still is Jimi Hendrix, and also people like Merle Travis, Chet Atkins, people like that. What they all did, which I do a lot of too, is to actually, instead of making a bar chord like this, you make the same chord like this. See how that's the exact same chord? What this is basically I'm using my thumb to hit that low string. Like let's say take this A major chord. I wrap my thumb around to get the 5th fret on the low E string. I use my ring finger to get these two, the A and the D string on the 7th fret, 6th string with my middle finger, and then the only bar I'm doing with my index is just these 2 strings, the B and the E, right there on the 5th fret. And you can actually leave out the A string, which a lot of times isn't actually doing a whole lot to make the chord, any different. And so, one of the challenges with this, of course, is learning how to play with your thumb. And, it's not just about the size of your hand. You tilt your hand a little bit differently. You bring your thumb around to the other side. And again, like this finger here is just barely clinging onto those two, There's not a lot of your index finger or your palm of your hand actually below the neck anymore. It's all behind the neck. So again, look at the shape difference with the traditional bar chord. Palm is down here under the neck. Index finger's coming up. The thumb is behind the neck. When I change it to that, that more like Jimi Hendrix, Merle Travis style, my palm is now behind the neck. My thumb is on top of the neck, and my index finger's just wrapping around a little bit. One of the benefits of using this thumb over the back of the neck approach to a bar chord is it actually allows you to have an extra finger, which is your pinky here. Normally making this shape, all of my fingers are being used up. With this shape, I've got my pinky to hit other chord fragments, which, like Merle Travis did, was used to play melodies. So you get a whole new playing style. You got like an extra finger. So that's why I love playing like that. Also, to me, it's a lot easier than playing bar chords all night long. Okay, so that's one way both to enhance and change your playing style, but also to sort of, cheat your way from avoiding having to really work that muscle, that bar chord muscle the whole time. Okay, so there's another technique basically, or I guess you could say a tool that helps you ease off on your bar chord hand. And this is specifically for if you're playing a show, you're playing a gig, a performance, whatever you want to call it, and your bar chord hand's tired, but you need to play them. Pull out the capo, and basically the capo is designed to be your bar chord finger. So if you're having to play up here, instead of that bar chord finger, you now have a capo. So again, I know that this isn't technically a bar chord, obviously, but the capo is designed to allow you to play up the fretboard and to play in keys that you normally wouldn't be able to play open on the guitar without having to play bar chords all night. Plus, again, it allows you to do things, let's say up here on the 5th fret, that you'd never be able to do if you were trying to bar the entire time. I could never do that on the 5th fret and have those open strings ring out if I wasn't using the capo. Okay, the last and final technique that I have as far as making bar chords a little easier and more manageable is get lighter strings, you know, at least while you're learning bar chords. Like bar chords and building that muscle, again, that's why I'm making this video. It can be pretty brutal sometimes when you're just trying to do it. And I mean, it's a lot of pressure that you're putting on the fretboard. So if it's starting to make you frustrated, you still need to build that muscle memory. But if you put on a lighter pack of strings, it'll at least allow you to do it without so much frustration. And you can also, if you've got to perform and it's getting in the way of your performances, put lighter strings on it until you get more comfortable and build up those muscles, and you'll thank me later. All right, guys, thanks for watching. Hope you dig this video. And if you've got other questions you want me to answer for you, make sure you put them in the comments down here. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button and keep coming back. And also, make sure you check out my Patreon page if you want to support this channel even more. I've got all kinds of cool stuff I'm doing on the Patreon page, doing monthly live streams, giving away unreleased music, doing masterclass live streams that are interactive lessons, all kinds of good stuff. So make sure you check that out too. Thanks for watching. Keep coming back. You rock.